Today I want to talk about Playboy, and to do that I'm going to start by showing my chart on SPX. I'm calling this my master thesis, and I have done some revisions, so it is going to make a little more sense. It does point towards a huge downtrend. However, that doesn't mean I'm not going to go long or be bullish on some things, and so I am looking for buying opportunities. If the markets do reverse and go higher and we enter a new bull market, now would be a great time to enter. If the market continues to dump and dive, then the buying opportunities will present themselves in the future, and I'm looking to accumulate shares. So I'm on the hunt for companies to buy into. If you're a follower of the channel for a long time, you know American Eagle Outfitters is one of those companies. And I'm going to add another to that group, and that is Playboy. So despite this very bearish analysis and thesis I have, yes, I'm still looking to go long, and I think I found a company that I like from the recommendation of the Discord. You guys are great. I love it. Let's hop out of the chart here on SPX and get into Playboy. Let's talk about who or what Playboy is. We gotta go over all that sort of stuff. So Playboy is actually a part of a SPAC group, Mountain Crest, which changed its name to Playboy Group Inc. You can go to their website, mcacquisition.com, and look up the SEC filings and press releases related to Playboy being purchased by this SPAC. So that's thing one. The equity is actually part of a SPAC. And now I want to go in and look at the CEO. So I found some interviews on YouTube. Here's one. I'm just going to play a little portion of this. Here he is talking about what Playboy is as a brand and what their vision moving forward is. And honestly, I like it.
What is Playboy, right? Playboy is one of the top 5 brands in the world. Maybe it's a top 3 brand in the world. We sell product in 180 countries. Consumers spend billions of dollars buying our products and services around the world. The problem was when I took over the business is we were a media company and a licensing business, and they really got into licensing to offset the losses from media.
Right.
What I think they lost focus of is what was the brand started as in 1953. It was started as a lifestyle brand. This is a brand whose first consumer product was a pair of cufflinks. You actually wore it on your shirt sleeve, right? This is a company that had casinos and resorts and a whole host of other businesses. But I think the problem was the leadership thought of themselves as a media company. And so they focused all of their business efforts on trying to drive advertising revenue, where I would argue Playboy should never have advertising revenue. Because when you are a brand, how do you sell advertising on a CPM basis when you're trying to stay true to who you are as a brand? And so what we focused on, and the first thing I did actually when I took over as CEO, is I put everyone in a room and I said, what does Playboy stand for? And unfortunately at the time, I got 100 different answers. And there was about 100 people in the room. And so you went back and you said, wait a minute, how the hell do you guys do anything if you don't know who you are? Right. And so we came up with a very clear mission statement, which is to create a culture where all people can pursue pleasure, and focus the business really around pleasure, enabling pleasure in your life, and leaning back into what I would say is these core libertarian principles that really existed when the company was started. These are things that Hef back in the day believed in, but talking about sex positivity, talking about even with Roe versus Wade right now, a woman's right to choose, right? The Ruth Bader Ginsburg letter to the company. And so we focused on these libertarian, First Amendment, freedom of expression points of view, and really tried to refocus the company back on it being a lifestyle brand. And so what we ended up doing was shutting down the legacy media business, right? Got rid of advertising, got rid of the sales force, and focused on really where consumers were spending money as sort of the low-hanging fruit, which was buying Playboy products and services or products around the world, right? In China, we're one of the largest men's fashion brands, right? 3,500 points of sale, whether that be e-commerce or brick and mortar. What we started doing was reinventing the business model in the United States, where we thought we had domain expertise. So taking what was a licensing business and moving that to a direct-to-consumer business. That business has grown unbelievably well. And then we bought other companies to supplement the skill sets that we lacked internally. Where we're going is we're really creating this Playboy ecosystem. And that ecosystem starts with something that the company originally started with, which was working with phenomenal influencers and creators around the world. That is our centerfold product. right? So bringing those creators in, having a long-standing relationship with them, and creating this lifestyle ecosystem where consumers can interact with those creators, whether that be through digital subscription, premium unlocks, video chats with that consumer, with that influencer then recommending and promoting Playboy products where the consumers are buying those products, or actually participating in real life events or virtual events with those creators. And so I believe we are creating something that is truly different, truly differentiated. And when you think about this creator economy, which some people estimate to be $100 billion, we are the one platform that has a true brand that stands behind it.
There's a lot to unpack there from that interview. I think it's important to go over what the CEO thinks is in the company's future, taking it from where it was and where the company needs to go. A lot of it has to do with direct-to-consumer sales. And I'm going to be on the website here talking about the kind of product that's being sold to the consumer. Let's start at the shop. I think a lot of this clothing looks really good. I do want to do some shopping here. There is a sale, and I see these sweats, and I'm thinking that looks really comfy. So maybe I do some orders, do some unboxing videos. I don't know. I also wanted to go over the NSFW side. There are 3 different subscription types, plus TV and the magazine archive. There is also some sort of VIP exclusive content within Playboy Plus. The subscription here is pretty affordable. It really is. They've got thousands of photos updated daily. It's pretty well maintained, I would say, and it looks slick. I like the design of the website. I think it's pretty intuitive. We can view the subscription cost for Playboy Plus. It looks like you can get a year for $50, which isn't too bad. Remember, that's just Playboy Plus. You're also going to remember that the CEO spoke about attending digital events and talking to the creators. And you might be wondering how that's going to happen. Well, let me just click around here. Playboy TV actually has the answer to that. Get to know your favorite adult stars. Ooh la la, intimately. So this is, of course, just an ad. As soon as you sign in, of course, then the NSFW content comes up. But there is, of course, a campsite. Also, I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this into the video. I don't think I can. It's just maybe I put a lot of blurring up. I mean, I don't have a problem showing it, but I think YouTube might. So yes, you can talk to the adult stars here. It's a pretty good ecosystem, I'd have to say. On a far less titillizing website, PLBYgroup.com, we can see Playboy's press releases. There's a few here that I think are important to go through. They're pretty bullish, except for the earnings report from Q3 of 2022. Let's just take a peek here. There's a lot to digest. I think it's pretty optimistic. They're saying revenue grew 9% year over year, which is fantastic. Direct-to-consumer revenue grew 22%, and this is where I'm getting my bullish thesis here. Is the direct-to-consumer revenue? I expect this to grow. They're going to start selling product in China through a joint venture, and I'll go over that press release too as well. But for now, we're going to go over this condensed consolidated statement of operations, and you're going to notice that the total operating expense is pretty significant, leading to a operating loss of 312 million? Let's see, this is in thousands, so 312 million. Brutal, right? Most of this comes from impairments. I'm not sure what they mean by impairments, but it sounds like it might not be a typical thing, kind of off the cuff. I have not been able to figure out what that is, so I gotta keep digging, more digging. But besides that, you can see typically they've been operating at a loss somewhere around $63 million, at least for 2021. I'll have to go through some older report earnings to figure out really what their general loss has been. At any rate, they aren't profitable. Not yet. They're gonna have to do some growing to get there. They sold the jet, I think, which was a fantastic idea. It's a really cool jet. Honestly, this thing is sleek. Definitely says Playboy lifestyle. But let's face it, if you're not making money, you're going to have to get rid of that. And they did make some money. They're saying they have a gain on the sale of the aircraft of $5.8 million. Not bad. Not too bad. But these earnings that's not a very good earnings report. I can see why the price of the stock just dropped for a long time. And this is where I'm going to start saying we're going to see a turnaround because the revenue is going to explode, I think. I would guess that in the year of the rabbit, the joint venture to sell product in China is going to be successful. Yes, that is speculative, right? But I think it's a pretty good move, honestly. With the foundation Playboy has built in China through licensing, combined with its brand activation and product design connecting Playboy with a new generation of consumers around the world, now is the right time for an in-country operations team in here in China, said Brian Lee, executive director of Feng Retailing. With this new structure and our experienced on-the-ground operating team, the Playboy business is poised for accelerated growth across product and lifestyle categories in this key market. Fantastic. That's a massive amount of market share that will be gained, I believe. I also want to point out that Playboy has paid off $70 million of debt, which is a chunk, but it's not all of it. They still have $157 million of senior debt outstanding. They had well over $200 million. They're knocking that down a little bit by about a quarter. Still, the company is not profitable and it has a lot of debt. Yes, it's expanding. What Playboy has going for it is the new market, the new product, the new CEO, the leadership. It's going to be a long road still, but I think accumulating shares now at these prices will pay off in the long run. Moving now into Thinkorswim under the Analyze tab, we can look at the fundamentals. The analysts are saying reduce or sell, but that's not all analysts. That's just most analysts. I'll talk about that a little more in the future. Scrolling down, we can see what the fundamental breakdown is, and it's pretty bad. Honestly, it's pretty bad just overall. Everything is negative that should be positive, and the only silver lining is that the book values is at 1.2. At 1.2, I'm a buyer. That sounds great. I'm going to notice total shares outstanding are at 72.4 million. Market cap at 152 million. Yes, what's going on here? It looks like the company took a big nosedive, and this data is a little old, and I think we might see a turn in this data very soon when earnings are reported on the 28th. Looking forward to that. Remember, this is a little speculative, but I think we do see a company here that is definitely evolving, and its equity price, its stock is definitely showing that pain, and I'm trying to find where the bottom of that is. I'm going to build a position while the price is down because I don't think it'll stay down there forever. I really, really, really don't. Playboy, of course, is in the consumer discretionary category, so that falls in line with AMC. And when you look at the charts, it's like, okay, maybe these two things are similar. And let's face it, the bear market and a recession is going to be hard on consumer discretionary. Absolutely. So that can have negative impacts on Playboy as well. And it's important to remember that. I'm not saying buy. No FOMO. No FOMO. But I am building a position. I want to share some charts, and I want to start with StockEd's chart, actually. When I first took a look at this, I saw a bullish Gartley forming, and so I went to StockEd because he's the harmonic pattern analysis dude. I am not. He says, no, not Gartley, but if price continues to drop to these levels, he could see a bullish butterfly, and so here we have the bullish butterfly analysis. You'll note that he's drawn a channel through here, and my chart will look a little different than this. I believe that this is on linear scale. I use a logarithmic scale, so it's important to use both. It really is. I think what I like about this chart is it does show high volume at Twin Peaks forming a double top, and then that breakdown, the push down. StockEd's got this downtrend, the most recent downtrend correctly labeled here. This looks really good. Clean chart. I can see it. I can read it. Everything makes sense. It's clear. It's sharp. I can see the time frame. I think the overall time frame shown is appropriate. The RSI is here, which I really like. And I see this average moving through the RSI. I like this as well. And while I'm here, I can see that price has made a lower low. Meanwhile, the RSI touched, oversold, did not make a complete oscillation, did not complete a total move across to overbought, but is now sinking and not finding a new low while the price is. So that's a bullish divergence in the RSI and the price, which I like to see, and that does support my overall bullish position or bias. Yes, there's a lot of volume through here. That's some pretty heavy sell volume. Not gonna lie, volume overall is increasing through this trend. I'm thinking we're finding selling Climaxxx, I believe is what it's called. At any rate, I'm not totally sure what the price target is. Maybe it's this yellow dashed line. I'll have to ask Stock Ed. I don't really have an upward price target myself, and that's because, well, let me just go into it. Returning to Thinkorswim and heading over to my chart. Here I have Playboy on the hourly time frame. I think the falling wedge is a good way to look at this, except you don't have the touch points where you need them. And you're going to say, Cap, I see those converging white trend lines. It's pointed downward. Maybe it's a horizontal triangle. Maybe it doesn't really matter. If you know how to use Elliott wave analysis, you can help see the wave construction through here and understand what is actually occurring in the price. And I think the concept of a falling wedge is correct, but actually what we're looking for is an ending diagonal triangle. And that's because we didn't get a third touch point on one of the trend lines before we had a breakout, which is down. Typically, when you see the price pushing down like this in a triangle, it's because the price is moving too far too fast. It can, in some instances, be bullish or bearish. It can be the beginning of a new impulse. It can, but typically it signals the end. And in a triangle, wave E or touch point 5 is often going to be a triangle in and of itself. And here we see the price just blowing past that lower trend line for the wedge, not giving us 0.5. So I'm calling this, I guess it's technically an underthrow. It's that the price has pushed beyond the third touch point of that trend. Typically, we see a reversal here, and depending on the wave structure that forms a triangle, we decide whether we're bullish or bearish. So what I've currently labeled is ABC, 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 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 corrective waveforms signaling the end of the current trend, which, as you can see, is down. From here, idealistically, I am hoping to see a bounce. The price will probably need to consolidate below or correct before pushing up through that downtrend. If the markets do go lower, then I think Playboy will probably follow and we'll be hunting for a new bottom, a new low. And Stock Ed's channel then would be definitely more in play than this wedge analysis, in which case we'll draw that channel here and follow it likewise. But for the time being, I think we're going to see a bounce in the equities. I would really like to say that Playboy will defy the market trend overall, and even through the bear market will continue to rise, but it's just too speculative. I think for now it's fair to say we have bullish patterns, we have some positive changes in the company, and that will help, but it's not doesn't mean anything really. Who was it? Okay, here we go. MW Playboy Group stock price target cut to $3 from $4 at Stifel Nicolaus. Okay, that's interesting. I did see someone here put a $5 price target on Playboy, but here it is. Chardon Capital reiterates buy on Playboy Group, maintains a $5 price target. So the analysts are all over the place, right? All over the place, and I don't really trust them anyway, so I'm just going to follow my analysis. My analysis says, hey, the downtrend is over. Earnings are coming up in just a couple days, so I have a position. Yes, I do. Holding some shares, holding some calls, and I continue to buy shares as price goes on. Let me just share my trades really quickly. I did buy some initially and then bail out right there at that trend line touch. And now as we are finding extremes along this lower trend line of this new triangle, I am buying more, and I'm going to keep buying more. I'm using cash that's left over from when I'm done day trading, right? I have like a few bucks here and there. Well, what am I going to do with that cash? Well, Playboy's low, and the share price is sweet. I like where the share price is at. Makes it tradable for me. The options chain isn't so good. We should talk about the options chain a little bit. Let me show 10 strikes, and it's like, actually, there's only 4 or 5. They're all starting at 250, going all the way to 10, which is because, well, the price has fallen so far, so fast that now the strikes are all above the current price. So, yeah, 250 all the way out to January 24, October, July, all starting at 250. There's even some here at 25 for 2024. Doesn't mean the price will go that high. It just means that when the contract was written, that was a more relevant price. You can sell that for $2. You can sell the strike for $2. Yeah, ridiculous. You can see volume overall has been pretty bullish. Way more calls than puts are coming in. Of course, I don't know if these are calls being sold or bought, so that's something to keep in mind too. We can kind of go here into the option time and sales. Today's biggest, or Friday's biggest, 250 call, 250 put. Way more calls than puts. Yes. And I don't know what this market thing means. I think this is not gonna bother with it, but we got the delta, the IV, the underlying. Okay, so pretty good day today. Maybe I should look at some of these other. Look at all these puts, right? A lot of puts written of the day. A lot of calls earlier in the day, but I don't think these are organized by time. Are they? They totally are. Okay, so yes, now I am concluding my spiel on Playboy. Thank you for watching. And remember, all trades are your own idea. None of this is actually advice of any sort. This is just me vlogging my understanding. If you did watch the whole video, congratulations to you. Tell me what you think about Playboy in the comments. Really, what do you think about it? Sex positivity. I would love to promote sex positivity. And I know the base of my viewership is male, typically around my age, probably making the same amount of money. I figure the demographics overlap pretty heavily. And so I'm just wondering what the common interest might be or what the community's comfort might be in talking about Playboy and such. Anyway, I'm out of here.